Welcome back to my channel, guys. Today we're going to talk about aesthetic design trends that don't work in real life. It's important that we talk about this so that you're not making some of these mistakes. Some trends really do look incredible. They stop you mid-scroll, they photograph like a dream, and yes, I love a lot of them too. But living with these designs, that's a whole different story. So for that reason, today, I am sharing 7 design trends that look great but are wildly impractical. I've seen so many people make this mistake, which is why I wanted to do this video. I've seen it time and time again, and no, this isn't about hating trends. It's about understanding what comes with them so you can decide if it's worth it or not. Stick around to the end. I promise I'm gonna save you money, stress, and definitely some regrets. Okay, the very first one. Let's start with the most disposable, and that is fast furniture, which refers to inexpensive, mass-produced pieces from retailers that prioritize trendiness and affordability over durability and construction. And while the appeal is obvious, it's budget-friendly, easy to access, fits almost any aesthetic, what clients don't always see is the long-term cost, not just financially, but environmentally and emotionally. What goes wrong is that the materials are often MDF or particle board, which swell, warp, or crumble over time. You cannot afford to buy cheap furniture because you will be shredding your dollars. So another thing that happens is that the upholstery comes apart, assembly is rust, or joints are weak, the screws loosen over time, especially with the use of high-touch pieces like chairs, beds, dining tables. I've seen this mistake happen from box stores that are reputable that you would never think would sell you furniture that would fall apart, and inevitably they do, especially on pieces like chairs. And guess what? Everything ends up in the landfill. We don't want to do that. We don't want to waste money. We don't want to have to throw everything out because it's broken. And although temporarily you get a boost of excitement, your home looks kind of cute in a certain way, but it is not a great look over time, and the cheap feel is really hard to hide in person. Instead, spend on your anchors. Choose quality where your body actually interacts with the piece, like sofas, beds, dining chairs, rugs, and then maybe use affordable pieces sparingly in low-use zones, such as guest rooms, accent tables, or trend-forward decor that you're likely to swap out anyway. This isn't about perfection, it's about intention. Now, speaking of homes that feel temporary, let's talk about a style that promises serenity but often leaves you feeling strangely unsettled. And that's ultra-modern minimalism. There's no denying the impact of ultra-modern minimalism. Think sleek white walls, no ornamentation, vast negative space, and perfectly streamlined surfaces. It's dramatic, it's editorial, and in a museum, it makes a whole lot of sense. But in a home, it can deeply feel uncomfortable. There's no softness. It feels very clinical, very hospital-like, visually or physically. So it has cold floors, angular furniture, harsh lighting. You're constantly fighting clutter. A single object out of place breaks the aesthetic. Sound echoes, rooms often lack soft materials to absorb noise, creating very sterile acoustics. And if you're having a dinner party, the sounds are going to reverberate. So every fingerprint will also show dust specks or scuff stand out starkly. And let's not forget the psychological effects. Over minimalism can actually create anxiety. A home should feel like a sanctuary, not a showroom. And although I love modern minimalism, it has its place and it needs to be done in a way that makes you feel comfortable. A better way is you can still achieve a clean, minimalistic effect by layering soft textures like wool, velvets, and introducing organic shapes or wood elements. Use concealed storage to maintain tidiness and warm up the palette with earthy neutrals or natural stone. Minimalism doesn't have to mean emotional minimalism. Minimalism pares things back. visually. But what happens when we go bold instead? Let's flip the script and talk about a trend that's all about saturated color. Before I get into that, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. That would mean a great deal. Leave a comment or a thumbs up. All of that will help the algorithm. Number 3, bold cabinet colors. I love a statement kitchen. They add character and a curated designer edge. It's a strong personality move. But here's what most people don't realize. Saturated cabinetry shows wear faster. Chips, scratches, and there's grease that will show, fingerprints that are going to show as well. Everything's going to be magnified. And touch-up paint rarely blends well on extreme colors. So these bold tones, although have some kind of appeal, end up not being very practical, and repainting cabinetry is always as expensive as redoing the cabinetry. So you might as well start over. Cabinets take a beating, especially around high traffic zones like trash pullouts, handles, and below sinks. Trust me, one of the reasons I'm redoing my kitchen is because I chose a black lacquer cabinet. Although it's sleek and fun and chic and all of those things, I've got some issues with the paint, with fingerprints, with wear and tear, and I'm gonna have to now redo my cabinetry. So if you're remodeling with long-term resale in mind, commit to timeless cabinet colors and play with boldness in other ways. Perhaps your tile backsplash, your lighting, your hardware, which you could easily swap out, or even a colorful island if you're staying for the long haul. Go bold, but understand the maintenance and make peace with having to do touch-ups and future repairs because it is high maintenance. While bold colors can age quickly, some design choices become problematic the moment they're installed, and none more so than stairs with no railings. So stairs with no railings, I love them, they look amazing, but you're opening yourself up for huge liability. If anybody falls while they're visiting your home, it's your fault. Floating staircase and minimalist staircase with no railings are absolute stunners. They also photograph beautifully and give a sense of architectural openness, but there can be serious caveats. Remember, safety first. No guardrails or handrails pose risks to children, elderly, pets, even you if you are distracted. Now, code compliance in many areas, these designs don't pass building code, so you'd have to actually remove it after inspection, and it's just not a great idea. Design fatigue, well, the wow factor wears off once you realize how often you are worried someone might fall and end up suing you for a pretty penny. That reminds me, don't forget to get an umbrella insurance policy. I tell all my friends. All right, you don't have to choose between visual lightness and safety. The key is to treat the railing as an intentional design feature, not an afterthought. And here are some elevated designer approved ways to do that. One of my favorites is to do sculptural metalwork railings that are custom made, whether they're brass or bronze or matte black or steel, whatever it may be, they can look absolutely stunning. And also look for geometric, organic, or even abstract silhouettes that echo your home's architectural vocabulary. Handmade brass railings, for example, can curve gracefully around staircases, functioning as sculptural art while still providing support. So slender profiles also keep the look light while the materiality anchors the design. Another favorite of mine are mixed material balustrades. So imagine sculpted wood railings, especially in walnut, oak, or ebonite finishes, and bring back tactile warmth to otherwise minimalist stairs. Now, you can elevate the look by combining wood and brass, rods, or powder-coated steel for contrast. Use balusters to cast dynamic shadows and add a rhythmic architectural quality. These designs feel timeless, but striking, especially in transitional or contemporary homes. My absolute favorite of all time is the curved or the sculptural rail. These are made all in plaster and they are museum-like, but are also safe, and they're absolutely stunning. I wish I had one in my home, and then last minute I pivoted and opted for a more traditional iron railing, but they are really sculptural. They are absolutely stunning and they make a huge visual impact. If staircases without railing raise safety concerns, wait until you see the next trend, where even the line between your bed and bath disappears completely. By the way, if you have a specific question in mind for your space, you can book a one-on-one Zoom consultation with me by clicking the link in the description section. My calendar will pop up and we can easily schedule a one-on-one. Today, I had a consultation, for example, with a lovely lady by the name of Jane, without giving her away, and she was so sweet, and we were able to really cut down her spending, meaning she didn't even call to save money, but we came up with a solution for her dilemma that was so inexpensive that in fact, she walked away saying, I don't have to spend $8,000. And I'm like, you actually don't, because you've got the perfect combination of furniture. We just have to make some changes. So great things can happen on these calls, and I'm here to be very helpful and to guide you guys through any of your design dilemmas. Now, number 5, open concept bathrooms and bedrooms. So this one's trending really hard in boutique hotels and luxury homes, a bathtub in the middle of the room, or a fully open layout with no separation between bathing and sleeping zones. And although that looks amazing and could be fun and interesting, it really isn't practical. So let's talk about what could go wrong. Other than the obvious, which is noise, there is also the idea of humidity. So there's going to be no separation between the steam, the shower, your bath, your bedroom, your sheets, your drapes, your wallpaper, your upholstery, need I go on? Noise, obviously, one person showering while another one tries to sleep, or one person wanting just to get away for a moment while they're in the room without having to exit the entire room, is not going to be practical. So you really give up your practicality and your privacy by doing so, and eventually over time you're going to get sick of it. And what if somebody walks into your room, like kids, after you've made this design? Perhaps you decide to have children, and you will find that you do not want to expose yourself to your teens whatsoever. So you can evoke that openness without full exposure. Use frosted glass or sliding partitions. So these let in light and air while they protect and preserve your discretion. So you want a home that feels luxurious and not performative. This is a perfect example of design that prioritizes aesthetic drama over daily function. And that same idea shows up in another popular but risky category. Are you ready? Built-in furniture. By the way, I have had so many of you contact me telling me you had no idea I had a vlog, which is crazy to me, because we're on the vlog once a week. We share behind the scenes, my trips, my trials, my tribulations, fun fashion, makeup, clothing, travel, behind the scenes, everything that goes on in my life, I share with you, my husband, my kids. Sometimes it's too much, but if you're interested in that kind of content, please click the link in the description section to my vlog and make sure to subscribe so you get an alert. Built-in furniture overload is one of the things that I dislike the most. So people think the more custom built-ins I have, the more valuable my home, the better the house, etc. But what ends up happening is that it just creates a very sterile, unattractive environment where beauty is lost. And here's where it goes wrong. Too many built-ins make a space feel very institutional, and rooms lose their flexibility to evolve with your lifestyle. So let's say you want an office to nursery, well, you can't do it. Den to guest room, well, forget that. So they're expensive to remove, they're expensive to install, and many people just keep them, and then it just doesn't look great over time. So it also ages, and if you want to do a quick refresh, it will be definitely difficult. So stick to built-ins that solve long-term structural needs, such as your fireplace, surrounds, perhaps in a library where you're going to want to put bookcases, but definitely restrain yourselves. And finally, let's wrap up with a trend that still shows up in luxury listings and influencer remodels, but rarely stands the test of time. Are you guys ready for this? The barn door and the industrial sliders. I cannot stand these. I'm going to be very transparent and honest with you guys. They solve a particular problem, which is not having enough room for a door swing. I get it. But there are other ways to find solutions to this, and the barn door is not it. The barn door should be taken and shot in the barn that it was born in. And in high-end homes, especially modern ones, they've just become more of a liability as well. Here's why. The sounds tend to bleed. They don't seal shut properly, so they're terrible for privacy, especially in bathrooms or bedrooms. The tracks become faulty over time, wheels can jam, they can warp, and the doors fall out of alignment and can potentially fall down. So that will damage your floor. And the sliding doors can just leave marks or scuffs, especially if installed improperly, which happens more often than you can imagine. So barn doors often feel out of sync, and they really should remain in 2015 and never return. Instead, why don't you pivot to a pocket door or doors with sauce hinges that really disappear. French doors or contemporary arched openings are a great idea. These create beauty, function, and timelessness without the barnyard baggage. Like I said, I've used some of these trends. I've admired all of them, except for the barn doors, of course. But design is about intention and understanding the lived experience that comes with your choices. So before you follow the trend, ask yourself, will I still love this in 5 years, 10 years? Is it adding beauty and functionality? And if it's high maintenance, and am I okay, adding WD-40 on a ladder every once in a while? And if the answer is no, then that should be your cue not to go in that direction. Building a home that supports you and your lifestyle is what you need to think about, and you need to be practical. And since so many of you ask, today I am wearing this adorable little sweater jacket from L'Agence. We will definitely add all of these items in the description section in case you're interested. My jeans are super fun. We will write down which model number they are. They're from A. Goldie. I'm wearing these new bauble bar earrings. I think they're adorable. And my shoes are Chanel ballet flats. Now, let me know in the comments which trend you've tried, which ones you actually have, and if you're thinking about changing them. Even if it's the barn door, guys, I'm really kidding or not kidding. If you have barn doors, I am happy that you do if you like them. I'm not here to judge. I'm just here to love and share my ideas with regard to interior design and how you can live a more luxurious life, a more intentional life, a more thoughtful life. And I'm here to support you guys. So I hope you enjoyed this episode, and I can't wait to see you guys next week on this channel, The Red Elevator.